President, honourable members and comrades. In May 2021, when I rose to give my inaugural speech, I was full of hope, aspiration and joy. And I am pleased to say that as I give my farewell speech to this chamber, that I still feel that way, thanks to the re-election of the Cook Labour government. This is not a place I ever imagined being in. Little Lorna from Largs, a Member of Parliament. This is still quite unbelievable to some that I grew up with. But here I have been. Tattoos and piercings galore. I might not have served in Parliament as long as others, but I have been politically active since 1989 with Scottish Labour. I've been a member of W Labour, a secretary, a president of the mighty Bassendean branch, as well as other positions within the party. I am a proud member of W Labour, and I will continue to be so. I am honoured to be part of a government that has passed 140 bills. In particular, the Abortion Legislation Reform Bill and the Safe Access Zones bills. I am still shocked that men in this chamber stood here to try and tell women what they can and cannot do with their bodies. I said it then and I'll say it again. It's none of your business. I'll trust medical advice over evangelical judgment every day. Let's not forget industrial manslaughter laws being created, reforms to family violence legislation, amendments to birth certificates so people can live as who they are now. On the 15th of November 2022, I presented to Parliament a petition regarding forced adoptions that called for a parliamentary inquiry, and that is exactly what happened. We had a parliamentary inquiry into past forced adoptive policies and practices in Western Australia, from which there is a Western Australian forced adoption reference group being created. That is government in action. Then there is the Firearms Reform Act. I am astounded at the entitlement that has been demonstrated by those opposed to this. In order to drive my car, I was required to pass a test to prove I had the knowledge and skills to do so. And as a diabetic, I have to have regular medicals to ensure I am fit to drive. I have a responsibility when I get behind the wheel of a car, because we all know cars don't kill people, drivers do. Owning a firearm is a privilege, not a right. In my inaugural speech, I spoke about my stepfather Stan, who died from mesothelioma almost 20 years ago. It was him and the other victims of this horrendous disease that were thought about when we brought in Whitlam Closure Act. I hope that one day soon we can have an agreed memorial for the victims of Whitlam. I also spoke about my friend John Whittaker, who was in palliative care when I was elected. We lost John on the 29th of June 2021. You have never been forgotten, my friend. Being able to speak on matters that may make some feel uncomfortable is something we should be thankful for. We are lucky to live in a society where we have the freedom to speak, to protest and to campaign. I went back over some of my member statements, and I'm proud to have stood in this Parliament to speak about palliative care, voluntary assisted dying, the conflict in Gaza, and menopause. I remember calling out the then Mayor of Perth regarding the closure of a community-based early childhood education and care service. Not that any of us were surprised, as he has a history of closing community services in this city. I have spoken on many occasions as to my pride of being Scottish-born with Irish history, and to the joy, inventions and social policies the Scots have bestowed on the world. I remember taking the Honourable Dr. Steve Thomas to task on his totally inappropriate use of Scrooge McDuck. I had to educate the Honourable Member to the fact that Scrooge McDuck is actually a working-class, thrifty hero, adventurer and explorer. During my time as a member for East Metropolitan Region, I got to meet a numerous amount of volunteer and organisations who assist the less fortunate of us in society. I would like to highlight just a few. Dream Builders Care, which is a social enterprise with the mission to serve the community at its point of need, specifically people experiencing food insecurity. It does this with a low-cost supermarket that aims to keep the cost of groceries as low as possible, an op shop that offers quality second-hand goods, including clothes, household goods, bric-a-brac, knick-knacks, etc. They also have a Fill Your Cup cafe and a funky community meals cafe in the evening. Then we have Midless. It's a not-for-profit community legal centre based in Midland and also Ellenbrook. It provides financial counselling as well as tenancy advocacy, disability advocacy and legal services to people throughout the northern region. Then one very close to my heart, Sister Project. It is a not-for-profit social enterprise based in Ellenbrook. It is a grassroots social enterprise. It works closely with migrant women supporting economic power. And as Deputy Chair of their board, I am honoured to be able to work with them. As a Member of Parliament, I was fortunate to be able to travel and meet people from all over the world. As part of the Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians Workshop in Canberra, we had parliamentary members from South Africa, Jamaica, Pakistan, India, and some Pacific islands, as well as other Australian states. This is where we spoke about gender sensitising parliaments. It's a movement that is occurring, but still very, very slowly. Serving on a committee is one of the responsibilities we take very seriously. As I was Deputy Chair of the Joint Standing Committee on Delegated Legislation, the members in this chamber got to hear on a regular basis me mispronouncing some of the names of shires here in Western Australia. My apologies to those shires. I do invite those members, however, who sniggered and rolled their eyes to go to Scotland and to visit Mulgai, Auchtermuchty and Drumnadrochit and see how they go. I would like to clarify a point of view that I personally hold. I strongly believe that cats should be treated the same as dogs and be registered, tagged and not able to roam the streets. And I never want to talk about cats again. As a member of the Select Committee into Medicinal Cannabis and Industrial Hemp, we met some very interesting individuals. Being on this committee changed my views on recreational cannabis. Whilst I wish we could go back to the Dr. Jeff Gallup days of decriminalisation, I strongly believe that we should not legalise recreational cannabis use. There is still too much to be done on medicinal cannabis, so let's concentrate on that. I was extremely honoured to be part of a joint delegation to the Cook Islands, with whom the Parliament of Western Australia has been twins since 2007. To my Cook Island friends, I say kia rana. What an outstanding place to visit. It is my happy place. I would like to acknowledge my parliamentary colleagues with whom I travelled. A squashed frog. I'd never heard of that before this trip. In particular, I would like to acknowledge our wonderful clerk, Sam Hastings. Sam, your guidance, patience and assistance in this Parliament is invaluable and very much appreciated. I would also like to thank all of the clerks who have assisted us in Parliament. Your diplomacy is legend. Thank you. Other members here have spoken recently about their experiences of being union members. I was always amused, and sometimes angry, by those who try to make out that being a union member or that coming from a union was a dreadful thing. That we union people did not have life experience. What a load of codswallop. I was a union member whilst children were throwing up all over me, whilst standing on the picket line, and whilst walking members out as they took action. I was a union member when I was elected and will remain a union member. If you do not support the idea that people can work together to create better outcomes for all, then what are you doing here? I would like to take this opportunity to thank United Workers' Union, Carolyn Smith, Dom Rose, and all the members for their support. Being here in Parliament is a bit like being in a bubble at times. We are treated extremely well by the Parliament staff. For that, I thank you. I must mention the catering staff. You are a unique group that has been supporting all of us overly entitled and particular Pollies for an exceptionally long time. You are all very much appreciated. None of us get here or is able to achieve anything on our own. It takes a team of people to just get us through the week. I have been extremely lucky to work with the joyful Team Harper. Virginia Aiden, my mentor, supporter and dear friend, I could not have done it without you. The wonderful Ebony Short, an amazing young woman with an incredible future. Remember that name. Hayden Miles, one of the youngest local councillors in WA, an activist, Energizer Bunny, and the person that helps explain Young People Speak to Me. Aniwa Graham, Kia Rana, you are a true advocate for your people and culture. Last but not least, Seren Moulds. I shocked Seren back in 2021 during a campaign door knock in Dawesville, which we won, by the way, by saying their full name. You see, when I worked in early childhood education and care, Seren was one of the children I cared for, but had not seen since around 2007. I like to think that possibly the learning opportunities I programmed have something to do with your values, ethos, and activism. Keep being you, Seren. I have been incredibly lucky to have been elected with a group of strong-minded Labour members. I have made great friends here. The Honourable Rosie Sahana, my sister, partner in crime, and she's a lifelong friend. My other sister, the Honourable Eor Makua-Chawat. I love the look on people's faces when you refer to us, the three of us, as the chocolate sisters. The dark chocolate, the milk, and the white. To my weird sisters and brothers, it has been a pleasure serving in this Parliament with you. I congratulate those continuing on. I congratulate Minister Dawson on becoming Leader of the House, and I would in particular like to congratulate the Honourable Matthew Swinburne on becoming a Minister. It is very well deserved. As I mentioned earlier, before coming into this place, I was President of the Bassendean branch. I would like to thank them for their ongoing support and look forward to the next branch meeting. I would also not be here today if it was not for the support of the Honourable Dave Kelly, Member for Bassendean. Thank you for being a mentor and supporter of mine. I would also like to acknowledge Team Kalamunda and congratulate you, in particular Karen Beale, for all of your hard work during your campaign. You were robbed. The people we become are guided by our parents, our upbringing and the experiences we have. I would not be the person I am today if it wasn't for my family. My mum, Liz Harkin, is here again today to listen to me speak, something she's been doing for nearly 56 years. You should be very proud of yourself, Mum, a nuclear scientist's son and a daughter a Member of Parliament. Not bad for the 11th child of a steelworker from Glengarnock. My daughter Jessica, you are an extraordinary young woman with great resilience, empathy and sass. I look forward to seeing the next steps you take in your pathway through life. My love, my husband David, he knows the real me. There are some people in this chamber who would be surprised that I do not actually say everything that pops into my head. My husband does not have that luxury. Thank you, babe, for all that you do and for the support you give me. I have observed much in this chamber since 2021, and I have some thoughts to share with members. To the opposition, I'm not sure if you're aware, but politics is a numbers game. That means you must actually work together, something that has been lacking. Your members of Parliament should really reflect the society we live in. I bring to your attention the 2021 census, which showed that here in WA there was actually more females than males. Something to contemplate. I have a great hope that in the future the Legislative Council can be a place with only one prayer that reflects our society as a whole. I also hope that never again there is a member who has been convicted of crimes against a person allowed to sit here and make a mockery of this place and the people of Western Australia. So, I have touched on my journey here and some of the great achievements of the Labour government. But my story, aspirations and hope doesn't end there. What the future will bring is yet to be known. I am immensely proud to have served in the McGowan and the Cook Labour governments, and I thank you for your time and your patience. Thank you, comrades.